What is up, guys? Baydex here, and I want to welcome you to the Trick Room, where the first are last and the last are first. Now, as you can see from the thumbnail and the title of the video, we're going to be talking about Shining Fates. This brand new expansion drops in just a few days, comes out this Friday, and so many of us have been anticipating its arrival. And we know, especially if you've been around for at least a few months, maybe up to a year of Pokemon collecting, you know that this is going to be a big set. Now, it's a culmination between two sets. The first being Shining Legends, and the second being Hidden Fates. That's where they get the name Shining Fates. Now, I had a pretty indecent experience today with Shining Fates. So basically what happened was I had pre-ordered at GameStop a few months ago, and they had a limit on the pre-orders that they had just set because I guess a handful of people were going in there and purchasing 20 pre-orders of the Shining Fates Elite Trainer boxes, which those are going to be hot. Those are going to be the ones drawing the attention and getting the top dollar in terms of what sealed product is going to be released come this Friday. So I had a handful pre-ordered. Unfortunately, all the ETBs were gone, so I ended up grabbing a couple tins and a couple V-boxes. So not a big deal, so long as I get my hands on a couple, right? But no, what happened was because of a storm in the Northeast region, I guess a series of storms, they ended up being delayed for this Friday. So I will not be getting my GameStop pre-orders on Friday, which kind of threw me into a bit of I don't want to say a panic, but put me on high alert because I'm sitting here thinking, well, I've been planning on making content for that Friday, and I will be getting out some content that Friday, so I had to go somewhere else to schedule a pre-order. Thankfully they had some. I only got a couple items that you'll be seeing on Friday, which I'm super thankful for, but many of you may not know. You might be thinking that your pre-orders are safe with GameStop, where they might not be depending on what region you live in. So my advice to you would be to go to your GameStop that you had your pre-order with and ask them, will they be getting it on time? If you went to an LCS or an LGS, I would be asking them, will I be getting my stuff on time? I went into an LCS today, well, local card store or local game store. I'm going to be throwing out those acronyms, just so you know. And they had an entire pre-order list, and they were saying, well, here's our pre-orders for these dates. Here's our pre-orders for these dates, and here's our pre-orders. You know, that just shows me that their allocations are a little weird, and their deliveries are going to be coming in delayed or staggered or what have you. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're out here looking for Shining Fates. It might not be available to you immediately. It might not be available to you in your area, let alone having to go to Target or Walmart for your products. Some of you may be close to a Meijer, but what I'm getting at is if you have to rely on you going to Target and Walmart or these big box retail stores to get your Shining Fates, it might be rough, guys. You might be in for a storm. Just saying. You know, I live in a really busy area after moving, and I only ran into a few big box retails where they had just restocked and I was there. Not to mention, one time I'm going into Walmart and there's a kind of like an usher at the checkout. And I go over there, take a peek at the cards, and the lady asked me,
hey, what are you looking for?
And I was like, I'm just looking at some of the cards here and seeing what's available. And she's like,
yeah, you should have seen the line the other day.
And I was like, oh, really? For what? And she said,
sports cards.
And I was like, wow, that is amazing. Now, these lines and people camping out at these big box retail stores is no secret. Many times they're associated with scalpers, and sometimes I think that it's not just scalpers, but it's people who really just want to get their hands on the product. And it's a shame that anybody would have to resort, especially just a casual collector, it's a shame that they would have to resort to having to wake up at 5 in the morning to camp out in front of a big box retail, to then wait maybe a couple hours for the vendor to restock the shelves. I think that's a you know, I've done my fair share of hunting. I know what it's like to hunt. Trust me, I'll make another video on my routine and how I got a lot of the things that I did. And I paid either retail or less than retail for everything. Now let me get back to my original point. If you're having to do that, you may not get your hands on the product. Again, you might be in line, you might be third in line, you might be seventh in line. I don't know. I've heard that these lines get pretty big depending on where you live and how busy it is. And I've heard also that the first 1 to 3 people might buy out the entire shelf. You know, many times there's no honor system when it comes to waiting in these lines. It's just a mess, man. And I've also heard and seen where there's groups of people saying, hey, I'll get sports cards, I'll get Pokemon, hey, I'll get whatever non-sports, non-Pokemon cards that are available, and they'll spread out, camp out at these big box retailers and then hook each other up. So you're competing at a bunch of different levels, and God forbid that you have a full-time job. Because they only restock during the weeks, it's not on the weekends. You know, you're looking at a few days throughout the week at a few specific times having to wait 1 to 2 hours. Now, many times, from what I understand, these restocking periods are going to be during work hours. So that's just not conducive for many people, and many working people like myself are going to have to just resort to buying on the secondary market. Fortunate for me, I don't do that. I really refrain, and if I do, it's going to be local here. It's going to be at an LGS or an LCS. So that's kind of where I draw the line with all that. And just personally, many of you guys, I'm sure, if you have the expendable income and are more than willing to pay out that much money, you know, we're going to get into some of the prices here for Shining Fates, and it's ugly, guys. I personally do not want to pay these prices, and I won't, and I haven't. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna pull up the pre-orders here on eBay because this seems to be the arbiter of prices, which it's reasonably the case here. You're looking at about between $90 to about $120, maybe $130 on the high end for some of these pre-orders. You know, as you can see, the prices are a little all over the place. I'm going to take a step back, and we're kind of just going to look at what the list prices are. This is the what had actually sold in terms of Shining Fates ETB. So I'm going to go back, and I just typed in Shining Fates here. So I'm going to expand the screen. As you can see, I mean, this Pikachu V-Box here is way over MSRP. The product hasn't even come out yet. That's probably for a pre-order for someone who is allocated that, you know, or they're just gonna wait. They're banking on waiting in line and getting some at Walmart. I don't know what the case is. Here you got 26 bids at 91 bucks, 16 hours left. I mean, I can easily see that getting to about 115, 120 at the end of 16 hours. You got $76 here at 9 bids, $120 OBO. You know, you got this, oh my gosh. So you got 2 of these boxes at 81 and 36 for shipping. Wow, it's pre-order. A lot of these say pre-order on them. $150. 4 days left on that. I mean, hopefully nobody snags, because oof, that is literally 3 times the price of MSRP. This is kind of just to give you a good idea of what we're up against come Friday and on. You know, what might happen is Pokemon or Nintendo realizes the demand for this product and prints more than people anticipate. And I would feel bad for the person who pays this much money for an ETB or one of these boxes or tins and realizes down the road that Nintendo did adjust, and on any given day they're going to show up at Walmart and Target and be able to find these. Now that's best case scenario. You know, worst case, this is going to be scarce. There's going to be choke points within the distribution chain, and there's just going to be a frenzy. People are going to be panicking. People are going to be paying way more than they should. because of how limited it is at these big box retail stores. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and we'll move over to the card list here. So if you haven't already, you can just look up Shining Fate's card list and go over it yourself. But for all intents and purposes, you guys can stick around and we'll go over it together just to see what are we up against. You know, most people, this is who I'm speaking to, just so we're clear, most people don't play the actual card game, right? Much like myself, I don't play the actual card game. And I would say that's probably the majority of people who buy Pokemon cards, especially now. So what I'm looking for and looking at are Pokemon fan favorites, which Pokemon cards, you know, have the most appeal to the eye. And that's really, you know, what I'm looking for personally. You can go a little bit deeper and see which cards might be more viable for gameplay, but that's not the majority of people. So going through this card list, you know, we're just going to kind of browse. Real simple, basic Pokemon. You got the Delmise here, VMAX. I would guarantee that many of you, if you pulled this, despite it being a VMAX, you'd probably be a little disappointed. But that'd be alright. Cinderace V, if you've played the games, you might be more familiar with that starting Pokemon. I'm just going to kind of thumb through, give you guys a good visual, and I'm going to point out some of the what I would consider to be chase cards that you should keep your eye out for, even on the secondary market, because you might see price jumps, or you yourself may not want to sell this if you were to open it. So starting at the bottom here, where we have our hits, you're going to see the Eternatus V and VMAX gold cards. They did the Zamazenta and Zacian gold cards within that premium collector box set. I don't remember the exact name for it right now. Those were pretty cool, pretty desirable, and those did fetch pretty good prices on the secondary market. That may not be what it's all about for you, but again, most people are focused on these things. So those two are definitely something to highlight. This Ditto VMAX here and Ditto V is pretty cool. I could see people, because he's a Kanto region Pokemon. People are more familiar with him. He's shiny, he's blue, he looks really awesome. Going through, you know, you might have some fan favorites, something that people like, and then the big dog himself right here. We're gonna go ahead and click on him. Now that's gonna be the shiny VMAX Charizard. If you've been in the game for 2 to 3 months, you would know that the VMAX Charizard fetches a premium. Well, Charizard in general fetches a bit of a premium. A VMAX Charizard fetches a higher premium. The Rainbow Rare VMAX Charizard out of the Champions Path set definitely demands a higher premium. You know, that card's fetching about $250 to about $350 depending on where you're buying and selling. And also to mention the fact that it's shiny. You know, these shiny Pokemon, they did a really good job with Shining Legends and Hidden Fates, to where they're bringing out shiny Pokemon cards, and us as the consumer, we're just eating it up. It's awesome. It's beautiful. So when you combine the Charizard VMAX and you make him shiny, that's just going to throw the price pretty high. And I'm curious to see where the price is going to start with these cards on launch day. But that's definitely the chase card to go for in the Shining Fates set. Going through some more that you might be familiar with. Nothing I'm going to spend too much time on. Personally, I do like this Galarian Mouth. He looks really cool. Impidimp looks pretty awesome in my opinion. Super cool little Pokemon. Dragapult there, another favorite coming out of the Sword and Shield games and the most recent generation of Pokemon. Galarian Ponyta for all you bronies out there. You got the fossil Pokemon, and these are all shiny, by the way, so that's what would draw the value immediately. Kind of going on, more shiny cards. And another chase card here, you're going to have the Rainbow Rare Alchemy VMAX. Now, this isn't the most exciting Pokemon to have as a Rainbow Rare. I'm going to kind of be honest with you. But it is a Rainbow Rare nonetheless, and people really do enjoy pulling those. I'm going to come back to these trainer cards because that's just a bit of an anomaly that I'd like to say. Now, just like they did with Vivid Voltage, with Shining Fates they did do the Amazing Rares, which I am a huge fan of. And we're going to do some speculation videos, and I'm going to tell you what I think about Amazing Rares and the sets associated with them later. So keep an eye out for those, because I think there's going to be some pretty decent information for you. But I am going to highlight that they do have a set of Amazing Rares within Shining Fates, one being the Yveltal here, which is an awesome black color with the rainbow swirl in the background. Yveltal being a legendary Pokemon out of X and Y. Let's see, there's a few more going through here. Then you have Kyogre, Amazing Rare, another legendary Pokemon coming out of Ruby and Sapphire. Big, awesome generation of Pokemon right there. Very more familiar to people my age and going on, just because those were the legendary Pokemon in the games when we were growing up. Oh, there he goes. Reshiram, Amazing Rare. Another awesome one out of Black and White. These are the cards that you're going to be looking for. These are going to be like these pseudo chase cards, but in my opinion, I feel like they should be almost right up there with being a chase card. Now, Charizard if there's a Charizard in the set, that is going to take the place of the chase card. But with these Amazing Rares, I think regardless of what Pokemon they are, these Amazing Rares are going to be highly collectible, and as a set, I believe will fetch a lot of desire and higher premiums. So that's kind of going through the card list here, just to give you an understanding. So if you made it this far, I do want to finish off this video with saying, despite the fact that this set is going to be very difficult to acquire, it's going to be expensive to acquire depending on your situation or how late you decided to try to purchase it, whether you pre-ordered or you waited. It's going to be rough, and I can already see it. Social media is just going to be buzzing. There's going to be a lot of angry people. There's going to be a lot of scalpers, a lot of resale. But nonetheless, I do want to just be that voice of reason for you and tell you to remain calm. For the majority of people who are collecting, you don't like paying these secondary market prices, which I'm right there with you. I don't want to pay anything higher than MSRP. Many times that's what you might have to do if you really want to get your hands on that set. But what I want to tell you is to be patient. Be patient. I might be doing a video later where I'm kind of showing you some of my collection, and like I mentioned, for like 95% of everything I own, I've paid either retail or less than retail for it. And we're talking about sealed product here. And it was all because I was very patient. I hunted, and I hunted, and I hunted, and I was really patient, and eventually I was able to acquire just a large sum of very, highly desirable modern Pokemon. So that's really what I want to tell you, and I want that to be the word of the day is patience. You never know how Nintendo or these distributors are handling this expansion. This is kind of on the heels of the boom, where Nintendo now knows there is a massive desire, a massive demand for Pokemon in general. I mean, nothing is on the shelves right now. When I first started, there was a lot of shelf warmers, and I can literally chop through an entire list of everything that was warming pegs or warming shelves at Walmart, Target, LCS, LGS stores. Now when I go, it's completely barren. And if I do find something on the shelf, it does not last long. That's been the status quo so far. So be patient. We never know how Pokemon or Nintendo is going to be handling this expansion or this set. They might be doing a higher print rate. Distributors might be kicking things out instead of trickling it into the retail stores. That might be the case. So sit back and watch, because we've already gotten news that Pokemon is going to be reprinting. They've seen the demand and they want to be able to meet the demand. So be patient, my friends. Be patient. That's going to do it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you wouldn't mind, go ahead and drop a like, leave a comment. I'm sure 10 minutes ago you've already swiped down, hit X, and dropped a thumbs down, but that's alright. But until next time, guys, take it easy.